don't want to see my
That's a bad one.
Yo, what's up? It's your boy T here with the Messiah, aka Andre Navarro, with Mr. 645.
I'm just laughing because we never call him T except for on the podcast.
I know. With Mr. Miyagi, and we've even got a
It's your
special
boy
guest
T.
appearance on the couch over here. We got Justin, aka Coronavirus, live in the
AKA guy on
flesh
the
over
couch.
here.
Yeah, get in there.
Bro,
Just don't.
Right
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Let him know, bro.
Our podcast is performed in front of a live audience of Justin every single week.
Audience of one.
Yes.
Word.
So day one, free agency. We're just gonna go over the madness of the free agency that's happened today. I mean, a lot just kind of went on. You know, we woke up and I think we all kind of were surprised at the trade that first went down. But we're just gonna go through all these things. You know, we got the D-Hop and David Johnson trade. Hooper signs with the Browns. Hayden Hurst signs with the Falcons. Devonta Freeman's released from the Falcons. Stefon Diggs was unhappy. He tweeted about it, and then he got traded. You got Jimmy Graham to the Bears. Marcus Mariota signed with the Raiders. Cobb to the Texans. And Amari Cooper gets paid. So we're just going to go over these one by one, just kind of give our input on how we feel about the situation. This is only day one. I mean, tomorrow there's probably going to be a ton of other news because the official year doesn't start till Wednesday, so we're recording this on Monday. This is like the legal tampering period, so we can just jump right into it. So you got David Johnson from the Arizona Cardinals was traded for DeAndre Hopkins from the Texans. Now, what do you guys say? Like, I went out last night. I was drinking. I woke up and I was telling you, I got up and I saw this, and I didn't know if I was drunk or I was dreaming, but then I saw that D-Hop was traded. I cannot believe this.
You had to have gone out drinking with Dave O'Brien, who's the GM / coach, right?
Yeah.
Bill.
Bill O'Brien, is that his name?
Bill
Whatever.
O'Brien.
Well, he should get fired, too, whatever his name is. It's terrible. I mean, so they basically got a second-round pick, right? Because they swapped fourths.
Yeah, it was David Johnson, a second-round pick, and a fourth-round pick for D-Hop and a fourth-round pick.
Yeah, I mean, someone said they were trying to shop him. I was seeing, but I mean, you're telling me you couldn't. I feel like that was like the first offer they got, and they just like took it. And then we'll get to obviously the Diggs thing, but I mean, with him, he's the man. I mean, he's like a top 2 receiver. So I mean, I don't get why you couldn't at least try to get a 1, especially from the Cardinals, who have multiple firsts, right? Don't they have? Or am I tripping?
I'm not sure.
They could have done a little bit better than what they got. I mean,
a lot of bit better.
A lot. Even throw Patrick Peters. I mean, they were trying to get rid of Patrick Peters, and I don't know, try and throw him in there, get more picks. The Texans, I mean, they need a lot of help on defense and on the offensive line, so they could have gotten more picks for him. But the trade still doesn't make sense.
Did you guys hear that thing where he was like he was disagreeing with Bill O'Brien, so that was part of the reason they traded him?
D-Hop was?
Yeah. Oh, you heard it too, Corona?
What? Oh.
The audience member says he heard it.
The audience member heard it. Yeah, so that was part of the reason for the trade, is there was some kind of like feud with it, or something going on with Bill O'Brien and D-Hop, which is weird because I feel like D-Hop's like almost like Amari Cooper. He never says anything.
Yeah, he really doesn't.
They're both like the silent shoulder coach.
The Kawhi Leonard. I saw someone with the Kawhi Leonard of.
Yeah,
The crowd is speaking again.
they they make bad trades all the time though. They traded Tunzel for a first.
Whoa, that was a great trade for
We
Dolphin
got 2
players.
first-round draft picks actually for
There
that.
you go. So terrible trade for them. So whoever's
Gave
doing
up
it,
Tunsil and Kenny Stills.
I just look at it as like from the
and
football.
yeah,
From
disgusting.
a football perspective, if you have like one of the young like better quarterbacks in the league, and he has like one of the best weapons you can kind of ask for, and you're gonna go out and get rid of like one of his best weapons. It's like when you have Will Fuller who can't stay healthy, Kiki Cutie who as well can't stay healthy, and it's like Kenny Stills is there, but it's like you're gonna trade away your Deshaun Watson is your offense, your team in a sense on that thing, and you get rid of D-Hop as number 1 weapon with chemistry and all that. I don't know. From a football perspective, it was like kind of baffling.
Yeah.
And like you said, not even for like another first-round pick or something like that. So maybe they can go out and try and get someone like Judy or one of these other receivers.
Yeah.
It's like they got second, right?
Yes, yeah, second.
So it's just like I don't know. From a football perspective, it's baffling. Like I said, it's kind of makes sense that maybe there was something with the coach for them to just give it away for a second and David Johnson. So, yeah, I was kind of shocked when I saw this.
Yeah. So D-Hop, I mean, he's pretty much a consensus first-round pick in every draft. Would you still keep him as a first-round draft pick? Do you think he still falls in that 10 to 12 range, depending on your league, if you're a 10-man or 12-man league? Do you think he stays a first-round draft pick now with the Cardinals, or do you think he falls to the second round? Because I personally feel like this kind of hurts his value a little bit to where maybe I'm not drafting him in the first round. Maybe I'm just waiting to see if he falls to that second round. I'm curious when the ADPs come out after the draft and all that, where he will be. Maybe he'll be in that back. Maybe he'll probably be more on the turn end is what I'm saying.
I mean,
He's
10,
probably
10, I would still take him at like 10, 11. I mean, they're going to pass up. The Cardinals are going to pass the ball a lot. Like they do, they run that air raid. And I mean, you would say they run more wide receivers, so there's less targets, but I think his numbers might still. I mean, I think he'll score more touchdowns. The Cardinals are just going to be passing the ball. They're going to be playing from behind more. I mean, I would still take him like that 10, 11, 12. But like you said, the turn isn't too far off anyway. But I don't think you're crazy if you take him in the first, still like the back first. I don't think someone's going to be like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
I think it's
early
justified.
on. I'm probably not taking him in the back of the first. This is early on. I'm trying to look up some numbers. If you want to go ahead to fast, Tyler, while
I mean, for me, it's just, okay, like, you still have Larry Legend there, which he's going to get his targets. I mean, Christian Kirk, who, you know, he was kind of a target machine last year as well. I mean, and, you know, obviously them shipping David Johnson off, it sounds like they're going to re-sign Drake. You know, they actually, what is that? They put not transition tag on him, yeah. So it looks like they're going to keep Drake there. But, I mean, even then, I was looking at Drake's numbers. You know, he was getting a handful of targets a game, too.
Sorry.
So it just kind of makes me worry about, like, is there enough to go around in a sense, you know? And, I mean, I think the Cardinals are going to be a better team than they were last year. Maybe they don't have to throw the ball as much. Maybe they're more competitive in games. So it's just kind of, I mean, I'm not sure, you know, when D-Hop is kind of just force-feeding, you know, I mean, Deshaun Watson was just force-feeding, D-Hop. You know, that's kind of what gave him his value. So I'm not sure if Kyler Murray's going to force-feed him, kind of like he was getting in Houston. So I'm a little worried about that.
I think off Cabeza, he was his target share was like 30-something% pretty much every year there with Deshaun Watson. So it was like, I just don't see that high target share repeating of like that 30%. I mean, even if he's at like 25, which is high, you're looking at like a 5 to 7% target share drop off. You know, then you have to, like you said, there is going to be 4 wide receiver sets, 3 wide receiver sets, and I don't think that, you know, he's been like 160, 170 target guy. I think he might be more closer to 140, and those, you know, those top 5 receivers that are going in the first round are all getting usually above 150. So, you know, Kyler Murray could have some growth too, so that's something you got to factor in there as well. But for me, right now, he's probably outside of my first round. He's probably more in like that second round area, like you said.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking right there. Kind of just flip to the other side of the ball. You got David Johnson now. He's coming to Houston. Carlos Hyde I think it was on a 1-year deal, so it looks like they're not going to keep him, obviously. But they did trade for Duke Johnson last year, and as far as I'm concerned, I think they're still going to keep him on the team this year. So, I mean, I know we kind of touched on it briefly on the Instagram story that David Johnson just didn't look the same. I mean, and if he was still David Johnson, why was it the fact that they felt the need to go out and trade for Kenyan Drake from the Dolphins? I mean, it could have been a system fit. I know, Anthony, you're always talking about the system and how, you know, certain coaches and certain schemes just kind of fit certain players. So maybe it was the system. Maybe this Cliff Kingsbury system didn't really fit David Johnson, kind of like the Bruce Arians system did back in the day, and Drake was just more suited for that. But it just makes me wonder, I mean, you know, does he still got something left in the tank? I mean, is Duke like I said, I don't think Duke Johnson's going anywhere either. So, I mean, where do you value David Johnson? Kind of just early, you know.
Go ahead, Jay.
I mean,
sorry, I'm looking up stats.
No, he did not look good. I mean, he had like 750 or 60 total yards.
He looked
3
slow.
touchdowns total. But yeah, he just didn't look good. Didn't look effective. I mean, like you say, they started Kenyan Drake, and it's not like he didn't get reps in practice to like show what he could do. He obviously just got beat out. But like you said, it could be a system thing. But to give up D-Hop, I don't know. I mean, obviously the Texans are willing to take the gamble on him. He's still getting paid like $10 million too. So the salary is still pretty, I guess you could say heavy for someone who's not as good. But if he does good, it's not that expensive either. So
Yeah.
the risk, I guess, is worth it for him. I would have done it backwards though. I would have tried to draft a running back and kept him. But if he could do what Carlos Hyde did, he's a better receiver out of the backfield than Carlos Hyde is. So I mean, if he could just stay healthy and look, decent, he could be. I mean, what round would you take him in fantasy? What do you think? Like a 6th, 7th?
David Johnson?
Oh, he's gonna go away.
Oh, he's way higher.
Go earlier than that.
I mean,
I know.
I'd take him in the 6th or 7th.
But I mean, where do you? I mean,
I'm
yeah, but it's
assuming
a
he's
reach, so
going to fall
you're
somewhere in that
hoping he's good.
second to
You're gonna
third round range, maybe 4th round, depending on leagues.
That's where I start looking at a 4th. But I think you're gonna get people
Fifth.
who are like, no, 4th. People are probably gonna be like,
man.
oh, it's David Johnson, like he's in the Texans now, and it's like I just look at it as like, you know, I'm big on systems, just looking up numbers too. Quick with the running backs, 79 targets last year to the running backs, 68 the year before, and then 86 the year before that. So the 3 years with Deshaun Watson, you're looking at a top of 86 targets. He's not seeing all of those targets. I can tell you that right now. Duke Johnson is taking a third of those at least, if not
least.
At least. So now you're looking at where did he make his hay for those years when he was the number one, you know, running back or top running back for one season. It was with the passing game.
He had 80 catches.
Yeah, so I mean, what? So if the team is getting 80 targets as a whole, he's not reaching anywhere close to that. So he's not going to be in my top. You know, with that, it'll be all saying it looks like he lost a gear. Like he just doesn't look the same. He's probably going to be outside of my just quick thinking, probably top 15. So that's going to land him probably in that late 3rd, maybe early 4th, and that's just quick thinking. That's not even factoring receivers and potential tight ends, and then even
rookies.
Rookies. So early thoughts on him. It's it's probably a hit. But even then, even if he stayed in Arizona, who knows if he would have even been starting? I mean, they might have started Drake like they were for that last part of the season.
Yeah.
So maybe it's good for him, but it's like...
I think the Cardinals were planning on not starting David Johnson. They liked Kenyan Drake, and they want to stick with him, and they just felt like that there was no point in keeping David Johnson there.
Yeah.
They already knew what they want. Yeah, Drake. Yeah.
Let's just stay on Drake real fast because I know we didn't really touch too much on him. I think you brought him up on the thing. Well, how do you guys feel about Kenyan Drake going into next year with this situation? Has he been officially re-signed yet, or are there discussions?
Well, they got the
Tag?
transition tag.
The
so
transition tag. So he's got like the draft pick tender on him. So wherever if someone wants to sign him, they can match it. And then if they lose him, then they get a compensatory
Which
draft pick
rarely
for that.
happens, I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, me personally, I'm a homer pick. So, and like we've seen how explosive Drake can be when he's given the opportunity. And it is just frustrating, you know, like in the beginning of last year, like they just wouldn't give him the ball. They give him the ball like 10 times, 12 times a game, if that. But then he goes over to Arizona and, you know, he's getting the ball 15 plus, 20 plus times a game. And you kind of just see him explode. Even against some of these like pretty good defenses that they faced against, he still had, you know, a good showing. So, I mean, I love Drake next year. I posted something to the fantasy counselor that, you know, I would beer bet him that Kenyan Drake finishes better than David Johnson.
Drake.
I know me and him had a beer bet a couple years, or not a beer bet, but a bet for Kenyan Drake. But I mean, he fits the system for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, he can catch, he can run good routes. He lines up even when they run like 5 wide. He's the other guy, and he can catch. I mean, and they like him there. So I think if he stays healthy, he's gonna be at worst like a mid running back 2. But yeah, I mean, the upside could be a running back 1.
Yeah.
Even though I really don't even like him that much, but he looked good though. I mean,
I was doing some of my early rankings. It's early. You still got all these rookies coming in. You still got a couple free agents getting signed and whatnot. But I wanted to throw Drake into my top 10 at like my 10, 11, 12 area kind of over there. And I think it's not out of the realm of possibility. You know, if he can get 50, 60 receptions and he can get, you know, 200, you know, 30, 200 to 50 rushes, you know, with that offense, you know, being explosive as it is, you know, you have these playmakers on the outside. Kyler Murray can run the ball. I know you've touched on Anthony, where, you know, when you have those RPO quarterbacks, it kind of really opens up the lanes for these running backs. And, you know, like I said, Drake's explosive. I mean, we've seen plenty of plays where, you know, you think he's going to get tackled and he hits a spin move out of the backfield and boom, he busts like a 60-yard run down the sideline. So, yeah, I like Drake next year going forward. He's going to be one of my favorite guys. We just got to pay a little bit more attention, kind of how things unfold through the draft and whatnot.
He was like I think he was over 5 yards of carry in Arizona.
Yeah.
He was. The line was. It's not much better, but it's better than Miami. So, like you said, that RPO, Kyler Murray having to worry about that. It's definitely going to lead to some explosive plays where you just weren't seeing those explosive plays out of David Johnson.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me either if he falls in my top 12 when we get closer to the season. Especially if you don't really go out and draft anybody and then stick with Edmonds and him, and you know, if he's the full-time starter. We've seen when he gets the workload, he does put consistent. It's been consistent points with him when he gets a workload too.
For sure,
It's not
yeah.
even like it's just one good game here, one good game there. When he gets that workhorse workload, he puts up solid numbers. So that's something to like, getting closer to the year. We'll see what they do with the offseason. Maybe if they sign another running back or the draft, if they draft someone. But I mean, if he's going to be the workhorse, he's. I'll probably pace out some numbers and do some statistics with that. But I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if I have him in my top 12, like going into season, if nothing changes.
For sure. Just kind of real quick before we move on to the next thing, Drake or David Johnson?
Drake.
And because
I'm going Drake.
they're probably gonna draft the O lineman with 9. They're probably gonna get better, so they'll take an O lineman that's gonna probably play immediately because they really didn't.
Yeah, and they protect Kyler too.
Yeah, and he came into the season halfway through, so I mean, not saying he didn't know the plays, but he has a whole off season now of learning the playbook. So I mean, he's just more invested into the whole system. So I think.
Which might
It's
only
set to
even,
get worse.
Might only even help his passing upside because now he knows the pass
protections.
protections and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
So yeah, I would take him. And if Devin Johnson does better and you draft him, well, you know what? Good for you.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so
I'll
we
trade
jump
him for
into
you.
the next
I
thing
highly
here.
doubt
So
that.
you got Austin Hooper, the Poopa Scoopa.
Hoopa.
He signs with the Browns here. I think it was a
Sorry,
4-year, $44 million deal, I think it was. This one kind of shocked me because they do have Njoku, so I'm a little surprised. I mean,
Njoku?
yeah.
He's
They wasted I don't know, I guess they wasted, but I mean, they used a first-round draft pick on Njoku just a couple years ago. I mean, we've seen some flashes of Njoku as well. So
It seems like, and then him and Baker Mayfield seem like they have a connection too. So
Yeah.
I was the same way. I mean, it's the Browns though. Like
Yeah.
they do stuff that everybody questions.
a double tight end set. That's not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, Njoku's just basically an oversized wide receiver at the end of the day. So, I mean, if you have Jarvis, Odell, Njoku, and Hooper out there, that would be kind of good.
Is it called like is it power style offense where it's like there's a 2 tight end sets. They want to keep Baker from doing stupid shit, so they have Nick Chubb and they kind of
It's like
more
a
of
double
like a
tight.
ground and pound, kind of make him game manage instead of fucking. They just did sign or pay for that tackle too.
Yeah, the Browns, they signed the right tackle from the Titans, Jack Conklin, I think
Conklin.
he's placed. Yeah, so that will boost up that right side of the line right
It could be part
there.
of the strategy too. And I mean, I don't know Hooper's blocking like statistics, but he could be a really good blocking tight end as well as receiving. So there could be some merit to what Justin's saying with that 2 tight end set.
Yeah.
With Landry, Odell, and those two.
I mean, for me personally, it's not more about Hooper that I'm worried about. I'm not sure if I'll draft Hooper just because I feel like there's a lot of mouths to feed there. Like you said, you still got Odell, who's a diva. I mean, there's been some rumors he might get traded possibly. I don't think that's going to happen. You still got Jarvis there, who's, one of the best receivers in the game. Njoku, we just touched on him. And then Kareem Hunt, they tendered him. So, I mean, I don't think Kareem Hunt's going to go anywhere. But even if he does, that'll change things. But if he stays, I mean, we saw Kareem Hunt get incorporated a ton in the passing game as well. If anything, I think this kind of just boosts Baker's value, where, like I said, you boost up, you get a right tackle. They had a good guard, they had a good center before, so maybe Baker can actually make that step. He had kind of a down year last year. Maybe this year he could be like one of those later quarterbacks where you're getting in like the 10th, 11th, 12th round, and we're always preaching on waiting on a quarterback. Baker could be one of those guys that you grab in the later rounds for your team.
I mean, they're going to give him double tight. And, they say tight end's like QB's best friend. So you got 2. I like Hooper more than Njoku personally. I mean, Njoku's like an athletic freak type of dude, but Hooper just knows the game. I mean, he missed 3 games and his numbers were still good. And I want to say he was like tight end 1 in fantasy when he got hurt.
Yeah, he was.
So he was balling. So, I mean, as long as Baker can just figure it out, I think that I like Hooper's upside more than Njoku's. But, I mean, he's still worth the flyer in the late rounds. But I like, as long as he can stay healthy, just like anything else. Because, I mean, Njoku got a concussion and broke his wrist on the same play. So, I mean, I'll take Hooper. I mean, I'll take them both. They're both worth, one's more of a stash. But I like Hooper. And he got paid, so I feel like they're going to want to, incorporate him into the offense and kind of get him going. And Njoku already knows what's up. So a double tight might work for them. And if they can both block, I know Hooper's a better blocker than Njoku, so I mean that'll just help him out of like like play action sets and stuff like that. So
I think Njoku's a good blocker in his own sense too.
so then that'll help him out. Baker needs. all the
I mean,
help he can
I'm
get.
interested to see if they draft another offensive lineman because I think they could move more towards a run heavy type of team because their defense was actually pretty It was above average.
Yeah,
so
for
if they
sure.
pick up a
And their
couple,
run D's good, yeah.
yeah. So if they pick up a couple more defensive pieces, they draft a lineman. They might want to lean more on, like I was kind of stating, where
Ball
a
control.
1-2 punch with Chubb leading the way, Hunt in the mix, and then Baker just doing what he needs to win these games, and then relying on some defense.
Yeah. I would say go get Joe Thomas, but he's lost like 78 pounds.
He's like shredded now,
Dude,
isn't he?
he dude looks like a wide receiver almost. I'm like, this is
Dude, it's like
wild.
hard for his. The offensive linemen have to like eat a certain amount
Yeah,
of like food.
That's
like,
probably why, man. If that's
it's
the case,
probably
I
not
would've
even
been
necessarily like
retired.
the healthiest lifestyle. On top of like you're taking hits to the head cabeza.
Jeff Saturday's like, fuck this. Joe Thomas is chilling. Didn't make it to the playoffs once. Weighs like 190. Sorry. Anyways,
Set for life.
So do you think Cooper, obviously they said when he wasn't in Atlanta, he was the tight end one for a good portion of the season. Do you think he finishes in the top 5 at tight ends
No.
now that he's in Cleveland, or would you put him outside the top 5?
I would put him outside the top 5. But I mean, that's really not his fault. I mean, just because you still have like the Kelseys and the Kittles, and you still have like Andrews, Waller should be up there. And those guys just don't have anyone else.
Yeah.
So just based on that alone, targets alone, they don't have Odells and Jarvises that they have to worry about. So unless they're going to pass it 75 times a game.
Yeah.
Which they're not. But I think he'll still be good. He can. I mean, and he can still get you some games. But he's still a tight end 1. I feel like he's somebody you can still start. And
He's somebody you're drafting, but
yeah, his floor is.
and you're gonna like start. You'll start him week 1, maybe probably week 2, but then we'll see from those weeks. But he's someone you're drafting, and like,
Yeah.
all right, we'll see. But it's gonna be. It's always inconsistent. Like kind of to Andre's point, is after those first 4 or 5 guys, it's inconsistent.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be. I think he's gonna be in those that inconsistent tier where it's like 1 week you're you're playing the tight end game in a good matchup, bad matchup, and especially with the 4th mouth to feed potentially. Like you're probably gonna have Odell ahead of him. You're gonna have probably Jarvis ahead of him. You still have
Kareem
Hunt in the mix. You still have Njoku in the mix, and then it's just kind of a lot of mouths to feed. And like you said, Baker, like I was gonna say, and Baker might not be. They might not be pushing to make Baker throw the ball 600 times and throw for 5,000 yards. It might be, hey, I want you to not turn the ball over, throw for 4,000 yards, and win the game.
Yeah.
And that's a possibility too. Or Matt Ryan's throwing for 5,000 yards every season because his defense can't stop anybody.
For sure.
So it's like,
Bless his heart.
Sounds good. So we'll go on to the guy who kind of replaced Hooper in Atlanta. You got Hayden Hurst. The Falcons, they traded for Hayden Hurst from the Ravens. And I wrote on the board here, Hooper 2.0, because in my opinion, I think he's going to just slide right in, and he's going to
Same
just
college
kind
number.
of fill in right of what Hooper was. Nice, yeah.
I mean, Melvin Gordon.
I mean, and don't forget about Hayden Hurst, because he was the first tight end drafted in that draft class. I'm not sure why the Ravens decided to draft Hayden Hurst in the first round and then Mark Andrews in the second round. But, I mean, they found a tight end either way. But
It's kind of like when the Redskins drafted RG3 and
Kirk Cousins, yeah.
Kirk Cousins.
But I'm gonna go on a crazy limb here, and I'm gonna say I think that Hayden Hurst finishes with more fantasy points than Austin Hooper does this year. Just because I feel like he kind of slides right in there, and he's not really competing with another tight end for targets. And like you said, maybe they don't want Baker to throw a ton. And like you said, Matt Ryan, he's got to throw the ball a ton. So I'm gonna take just a wild flyer out here, and I'm gonna say Hayden Hurst will outscore Austin Hooper this year.
Beer bet?
If you had a crazy limb, which limb would it be?
All 4.
All 4 limbs. Well, I agree with you, so I can't really beer bet.
I agree with you as well.
Yeah, I was just going to see if you're going to throw it out there. But yeah, I mean, and the thing with tight ends, it's like the first year as a rookie, to kind of get acclimated. He's been in the league. He just has to learn the system. Dude's already.
Oh, he big boy.
Yeah, exactly. He can already do it. He can run. He can block. I mean, and he's fresh too. I mean, he's been a backup, so he's been kind of chopping time.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be, and he's a clear-cut number 3 with Atlanta. Like, they got Julio, Calvin Ridley, and then it's him. Like, it's clear-cut. I mean, he's not jumping up to 2. He's going to be the 3rd guy, and that'll still get you 65 catches, 70 catches.
Yeah.
As much as the Falcons pass it. And he already had, he had a good amount of, he had 4 or 5 touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
I don't see why he can't get more. So
On a team that doesn't really, they throw the ball to the tight ends, but it was Mark Andrews that was the tight end, But outside of that, Lamar Jackson's running the ball. They want to run the ball on the Ravens.
Yeah,
and he's sneaky athletic too. Dude,
that system.
Dude can move.
That system seems to be like, next man up type of system where you see Sanu get traded. They have guys filling Sanu's role, and they're kind of putting up some decent numbers like Russell Gage and whatnot. Hooper went down for a week or 2, right?
Yeah, like 3 weeks.
I can't. I do want to look up and see if that tight end did.
Oh, he did. He scored
was
a couple.
He was decent, right? So it's kind of a plug and play. Is Hayden Hurst Hooper's talent level? That's remained to be seen.
Your first round talent level when you get drafted, at least.
Yeah, but I mean, first round doesn't mean he's going to develop the same and be the same type of player. It's possible, but like I said, that remains to be seen. We can find out this year, but definitely upside with the first round pedigree there. But it's just kind of just pointing out as plug and play. Russell Gage wasn't Mohamed Sanu, and he was able to put up numbers. The backup tight end, even if Hayden Hurst is as good as that backup tight end, if he's putting up numbers, he's going to put up numbers. So kind of he fills into the system and could definitely be Hooper 2.0. I probably wouldn't put him in the top 5, but
top 10.
He's going to fall in the top 10 for sure. Probably even top 8. I mean, he might be in like the 7-6 range, something like that. Maybe 8.
Yeah.
And in Dynasty, I mean, if you're in a Dynasty,
and you might get a lot of
league, he's worth
consistency out of him because Hooper was consistent, like on a weekly basis. So that's one thing where it's like you might not get the Hooper numbers, but you might get a weekly 4 catches out of your tight end 5, which is not. That's really consistent for tight end.
Serviceable.
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
serviceable. So he could definitely at least be a serviceable tight end. I'm kind of just playing, his downside a little bit too. But I think there's definitely room for even a top 5 finish. So Matt Ryan throws for 5,000 yards like every year. It seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's still young. So that's, well, I mean, for tight ends, he's like 25, 26 because he came out. He's kind of old.
And we got to assume, Devonta Freeman's gone. We assume they do something with the running back position. But, if that running back isn't a good pass catcher or doesn't hit at that position, it's only going to go more to the tight end position.
Yeah.
Because we talk about running back and tight end correlation. And that could be a big boost if they don't find that pass catching back there.
And they're invested. They gave up a good amount for him, too. So
Yeah. I like the upside. And I think you won't have to pay what you paid for Hooper, but you could get somewhat similar production.
And there's no tight end you can draft right now that's going to contribute how he's going to contribute.
Because you probably would have had to pay for Hooper. What do you think? 5th round, 6th round pick?
More than that. He probably.
Oh yeah. Well, they traded a second
I'm
round.
saying
pick
if they never
Hayden
traded
Hurst.
Hooper, what do you think? Like going into next year, you would have had to pay to draft Hooper.
Oh, he would have probably got you 80 catches next year. This up year with the Falcons.
I'm saying like early pick next. Like this trade never happened. Hooper's still with the Falcons next year. Where do you think Hooper is going?
Oh yeah. In fantasy, yeah, he's going probably like 4th or 5th round, somewhere there.
Yeah.
He's like tight end 4. You could put him
Yeah, so
Probably,
right around that 5th round turn, because that's last year where Njoku and Howard were
You can put
going,
him
and that's
right-
where they were.
you
Yeah,
could-
Evan Ingram.
Yeah,
so
you
yeah.
could argue to put him right after like Mark Andrews,
Yeah.
Waller area, because he was doing his thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was balling.
so
He was getting you like 11 for 95 yards too. Like
So what I'm saying with Hayden Hurst is he might be an 8th, 9th round pick versus where you're going to get solid like production week after week out of your 8th, 9th round pick. You don't have to burn this 5th round pick like you would with Hooper.
Yeah.
So that's something that's like a nice like, all right, cool. Could I maybe get Hooper
flyer.
2.0, which is possible, and that's definitely something that could happen. But you're getting Hooper in the 8th, 9th round instead of taking him in the 5th.
So can this be like a crazy call? Could he be a Mark Andrews 2.0 and same thing, like get him in the 9th? I mean, same thing.
No,
Mark
yeah,
Andrews
I
is like a
agree,
12th
yeah.
round.
Yeah,
I agree.
Could he sneakily get you like 9 or 10?
Sneakily.
He could,
Sneakily.
right? I mean, if he plays a whole year, he could.
No, yeah, I agree.
I mean,
100%.
Andrews was a 12th round pick and he got you 10. So
I mean, it's early.
he can
Like
get you 7 or 8.
yeah, it's early. You still got to do the draft, and there's still
course.
free agency and going on and whatnot,
Injuries.
injuries and whatnot. But he's definitely one of my favorite tight ends
Yeah.
going in this year. I
He
mean,
might be even one of my targets, thinking about it early, because he might be 7th, 8th, 9th, like
Yeah.
we're discussing. Because I don't think he's going to go 5th, 6th.
we've seen Matt Ryan. Obviously Hooper had the success there, so I think he can literally slide right in and be an Austin Hooper 2.0 in the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah. Especially as
offense.
ugly as tight end goes, like if you get him like 7th, 8th, even 7th or 8th, like you think you're going to get some solid. If you get consistency out of him, that's a steal.
Yeah.
Because tight end's so like it's so unpredictable after like a couple guys, and it gets so ugly. And it's like if you have a weekly guy who's getting you 4 or 5 catches, he's going to pace for 70 catches and 6, 7 touchdowns. I mean that's an advantage in fantasy.
And in redraft leagues, of course, I'm saying there's always like that tight end guy that always loads up on tight ends that'll try to go double tight or load up. So I mean, if you're that guy, you can get you Kittle and him. But I mean, who knows? But some people do.
Yeah, for sure. No,
Some
yeah,
people do like
for
to load
sure.
up on tight ends
Yeah.
and get some.
You could tag
sleepers.
Hurst with
trade
someone
bait,
late.
some trade value right there.
Yeah, Nobby had Hooper and Andrews last year. Speaking of, and,
Yeah.
I mean that would have been nice to have.
Yeah, you go Hurst and you go someone with some upside like Gesicki or something like that, and like just saying like later guys, you have like 2 guys or Hurst and someone like Noah Fant, you take a second tight end later and
That's right, tight end, not 15. And tight ends are good throw-ins. If you can get you a good second tight end, you can throw that into a trade, dynasty or regular.
For sure, yeah.
You're good.
So
You're good.
sticking with the Falcons here. So just the Falcons, they actually released Devonta Freeman. It's just crazy because when we were doing the rookie episode, you kept talking about this would be a good guy for the Falcons. This would be a good guy for the Falcons. It's almost like you knew they were going to cut Devonta Freeman. So, I mean, we'll see if they go out and they sign one of these free agent running backs. But it's looking like they're probably going to draft a running back in this
But
upcoming
if it's not
draft.
Melvin
So
Gordon, that'd be kind of interesting.
Man.
that would be an interesting signing, yeah. So
I had a good signing for where Devonta Freeman could go.
Bucks.
No, he should, just for the simple fact, him to the Seahawks would be good because they don't have a running back right now. They got a dude with a fractured hip and a torn ACL. So, I mean, you can get Devonta Freeman on like an incentive-based contract.
He's gonna want more than incentive.
Yeah.
base.
Well, why? I mean, you got to prove it. You've been hurt. What, he was hurt 2 years ago with concussions and a knee, and then he got hurt again. I mean, their O-line was
I
bad.
mean,
The Falcons
didn't he bring
O-line
them
was
to the
like,
Super Bowl that one year?
No, that was 3 years ago.
that was Matt Ryan. He was the
Yeah.
MVP.
So his numbers, I mean, he needs. If you're a team, you can't pay him because he hasn't been shit the last few years. So you're gonna have to. He's gonna have to accept a deal like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it just. I just like the Seahawks because of the play calling and the way they use their running backs, and if he can stay healthy. But he's not gonna get
Yeah.
premium money because I mean he's only played like what 15 games in 2 years or something like that. It's like you're just not gonna get it.
I mean, he'll get decent money. He's gonna get at least $5 million a year.
Yeah, 5 million. Yeah, but he can get it an incentive base where it can be up to like 10 if he plays X amount of games, doesn't get hurt. Looks like he did 4 years ago. Should
Yeah.
be great.
We'll see where he lands. I think he
doubt it's
lands
the
in a spot
Seahawks.
where he's going to be in a committee. I don't think he's that workhorse running back
No.
as he was, in his heydays in
No,
Atlanta.
Seahawks
so.
could take a
He was
rookie.
kind of best in a committee anyways with
Yeah.
Coleman. That's why he was
Yeah,
best
for sure.
years when
Yeah,
he had
no,
someone
no.
else taking
That was
some of that work.
when he would run up the entire field, and then Tevin Coleman would just run in for the touchdown.
Honestly, Seahawks pick him up and draft a rookie, AJ Dillon or somebody, and then you got like a power guy and a speed
Yeah, and then have
guy,
like
and
6
then
running backs.
No, they're all hurt. I mean, well,
Chris Carson's not dead. Neither is Rashad
bro,
Penny.
bro, he's
They
got a
love
fractured
Chris
hip,
Carson,
though.
too.
I'm sorry. That's a fractured hip. How good can you be from a fractured hip?
You got a point.
He's gonna be recovered by season.
But dude, it's a fractured hip though. Like how
Yeah,
good
low
are
key.
you gonna be?
Hey, I'm not even trying to be that guy.
Are they-
Mike,
Like that's what I'm saying. And you're getting
Well,
you're a
he's
running
still
back.
he's still on the roster. They're not cutting
Well,
him.
of course they're not gonna. But I'm saying.
And then you're gonna pay
talent-wise-
Devonta Freeman money. I doubt that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not gonna be an
And then you're gonna
expensive
draft another
contract.
running back. You still have Rashad Penny.
Who's on a rookie contract, who tore his ACL, who you're not paying though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we'll
that's
just
their
see where
first
he
round pick.
lands. I think it's more interesting to see who the running back for this
need
offense will be
somebody.
because it is an explosive offense, and I think if they can get a good running back, whether it's a free agent like Melvin Gordon or a rookie in the draft, I think that rookie or like I said Melvin Gordon for example, that running back
That'd
could
be
have
good,
some
too.
value in this offense. So we'll just have to stay tuned to see where where Devonta Freeman goes, and then also who the Falcons sign to replace him over there. So just
though.
Well, bro, why are you showing the Dolphins?
Well, and not to mention, he actually had a good amount of catches this year finally, but their O-line was so bad. The Falcons' O-line was horrendous. So
yeah.
he would honestly be an interesting guy. I mean, I'm curious what the market's going to be for him,
Yeah.
but he's going to be dependent though. If he goes somewhere like a super deep committee, who knows? But maybe the Titans, you never know. Give him something low. They just released.
Possibly could
Deion Lewis.
replace that Deion Lewis role for sure. So we got
Go
right here
Miami.
Stefon Diggs.
Devontae Parker.
Yeah,
Devon-
yeah, I'll take that. Yeah,
Kind
I'll
of reminds me
take
of Devonta Parker.
He kind of does.
So he goes up in high points.
it. All right, so you got Stefon Diggs. In the morning, he tweeted out. I forget what it said exactly. I think he said something like he tweeted out like it's time for a new beginning. That was in the morning, and by the end of the night, he was a Buffalo Bill. So
Shout out to his agent.
Stefon Diggs gets traded from the Vikings. He goes to the Buffalo Bills.
Antonio Brown's a Buffalo Bill too for like 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
remember that last year?
remember, I was like,
Oh,
dude, I
that's
made this.
right. I
I made this
forgot about
graphic
that.
so fast.
Holy shit, I did forget about
By the
that.
time the graphic was done,
Well,
it was
yeah,
like,
so,
no, he's
so what do you think? Diggs to the to the Bills?
So yeah, Diggs to the Bills. So what do you think his value is on the Bills? Do you think it's the same as it would be if he remained on the Vikings? Do you think it goes
Yeah,
up? Do you think it
that's-
goes down?
Time for a new beginning.
Wait, who's the guy say best deal in the league? Bring Diggsy to Miami.
Look
Yeah.
who commented. Look, Devontae Parker.
Yeah.
Weird.
I mean, that
That's
would
his
have.
favorite.
I wouldn't have been mad if they took him Miami for second round. What did they get? Fourth?
They gave
They
him
got
a
a
first
round.
a fourth, a fifth, and a fourth.
That's so
Yeah,
funny.
they got a lot.
Oh,
they got
see-
more
No,
than the Cardinals gave
Because
up
for
for
Hopkins.
D-Hop.
He's like, I'm better than you, D Hop. What's good? Look, he's like, I'm better.
So
Yeah.
so what do you think his
It's
value
risky.
is? Do you think it stays the same? Do you think he goes up in the situation? Do you think he loses some value here? Because I mean, I have my opinion, but what is your guys' thoughts on this? Just
Best
kind of-
case scenario. What was his? I don't know his numbers off. What was his finish?
What-
numbers
I just
last year?
think
He was a borderline wide
He's
receiver.
like 13, right? 12, 14,
Yeah,
something like that range.
he was
15?
borderline. He was there.
I think that's best case.
But that was
scenario.
all with a lot of games with Thielen out with the hamstring as well.
That's
You
what
got
I'm
to
saying.
throw that.
I
in
think
there,
that's best case scenario. I think he's more likely of like a. I just don't see Josh Allen carrying two receivers. On top of that, I mean, John Brown's not going to go away. Cole Beasley's not going away. Diggs isn't going to. They're not going to just target Diggs all of a sudden 150 times.
Yeah.
I just think with Josh Allen being a rushing quarterback, you're not.
And that as well too.
You know what I
was
mean?
gonna
He's
kinda
not-
point that out. He only throws for like 3,500 yards. I think maybe.
Well,
He does throw. He does. He has been throwing more. He threw more this past season, obviously, but I still think there's a lot better places for him to land.
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah, that I
it's best case scenario.
That
It's
I
a
agree.
lateral move. This is best case scenario. Maybe if he scores 10 touchdowns, 11. I think it's a downtick for him personally.
I mean, Kirk Cousins is, I would say, more of like.
I mean,
a
Josh
passing-
Allen, 2 years, 2,074 yards. He didn't play the full season, but last year 3,000 yards.
Yeah.
I will say that last year though, the only thing with him is his deep ball percentage. He has a cannon. His completion for the deep ball is like pretty low.
But who's on the opposite side of him? Who's just a deep ball guy too?
No, I'm saying so it's more Josh Allen. Like if I had John Brown. Like if you watch the Bills, he misses a lot of deep balls. So if he can clean that up just a little bit, he'll be more efficient. I'm not saying he's gonna throw for 5,000.
I think it's a knock on Josh Allen though. Is he's
No, that's
not
what I'm saying. No, I'm
inaccurate.
saying it is. I'm saying it is a knock on Josh Allen. Like he needs to get more accurate. But I'm saying, assuming he's got to get better. He's not gonna.
Yeah.
I'm obviously speaking under the assumption that he's gonna improve as a passer, but
But yeah,
he has a cannon for an arm, and if he can just get better, I mean, you can line up Diggs on the other side, and
Sorry, I was gonna make a baseball reference.
but I mean, I think his ceiling could be a little higher, but no, I mean, it's gonna be.
I don't
right
even-
around
I don't
the
even think
same.
his
And
ceiling's
well, the
higher.
thing is, they play outside too for fantasy purposes. In the wintertime, bro, they play in the fucking cold.
For sure, yeah.
So that's gonna suck.
Yeah.
So having Diggs,
Well,
in-
they're in a dome in Minnesota too. They were saying?
well, no, they're in a dub. No, I'm saying in Buffalo, they're not.
Yeah, they're outside.
That's what I'm saying. So now
That hurts the-
So that's what I'm
the
saying. It hurts
NFC
his stock.
games.
So now that sucks. Having to have him in dynasty or in fantasy and having him play outside in the cold when it's 30 degrees. That sucks. So
Yeah,
that's something to look out for.
Big
Check-
yardage
check a
difference
schedule.
from quarterback to quarterback, and then there's a big touchdown difference as well. So it's.
But Diggs has been good his career though.
I like. He's honestly one of my favorite route runners, and hands down, I think if you put him on some teams, he's a monster. But I just don't think the situation is good for fantasy.
His worst year is 720 yards, and that was as a rookie with nobody. So I mean, if he can do that with nobody,
I
you
mean,
would
Case
think.
Keenum. What was the year he had Case Keenum?
that was the 2015 was his rookie year. He had 52 for 720 and 4. And then the next year he had 84 for 903. So I mean, yards wise, he's going to get you his yards.
Yeah, but those also quarterbacks were thrown for probably 4,000 yards. Josh Allen's not a 4,000 yard quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know
I
what
doubt he even gets to
15 was.
3,500.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who it is, but he's an explosive guy. Sometimes you don't even have to throw it deep. He can make he can get it cracking. But
And like I said, he's probably hands down one of my favorite route runners and guys to watch. Like, so it's like I do have guys that I favorite. Like when it comes to that, one of the reasons like I did like Amari
He's
Cooper,
young.
some of his routes, but it's like I just don't like. He's as a receiver, he's probably one of my favorite receivers to watch. But for fantasy wise, like I don't put the feelings into it. It's not.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Josh Allen's got to show it then.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm one of those guys. I kind of have like a do not draft list, and he's kind of on my early do not draft list. And this is just a couple reasons why. So, I mean, yeah, he's a good route runner, like you said, and he's an explosive player, 1,000%. And that's why they went out and they gave a boatload of draft picks to get him. But it's kind of like a couple years back. I think we did the podcast and we said, it's Thielen and Diggs. Who are you going to draft? And it's like, okay, well, they're like it's 1A, 1B. Well, I'd rather draft Thielen in the later rounds because Diggs is going in like the 4th round. I feel like this is John Brown and Diggs all over again. And it's like, if I'm going to draft one of these guys, I'd rather draft John Brown in the 8th, 9th, 10th round, in these later rounds because Diggs has that name value. He's probably going to go in the 4th round, give or take.
And Brown has an upside.
And I think, like you said, Josh Allen's not throwing the ball a ton for yardage-wise. He runs the ball a lot, and even when they get close, it seems like Cole Beasley was getting a lot of these, like, short red zone touchdowns. They do like to run the ball. Singletary probably is going to emerge a little bit more. So
That's a guy I like.
I just think that there's going to be
oh man.
too many mouths to feed with not enough to go around, especially
Yeah.
with Josh Allen running the ball and he he gets a ton of rushing touchdowns. He had 9 rushing touchdowns last year. Josh Allen did. So, I mean, I think Diggs will be a big name that people will probably reach for, and I'll be happy to let someone else grab him because that means that another player is going to fall into my lap, in that round.
Yeah, I'm kind of exactly on your page.
I mean, I wouldn't take him either, but
I'm
I think he's so
co-signing.
good.
I like that.
Yeah. Well, because I think he's like Tyler said, and you probably even will agree with that. I think he's ended up going way too early.
Yeah,
You gotta think
someone's
about
gonna love
actual
him. Somebody's
drafts.
gonna
It's
just
like
love him.
people are gonna be like, dude, we
he's
were
a
talking
beast,
about
though.
John Brown in free agency for what, like 15 weeks?
He's like, oh yeah, he's like every
Until the
week.
playoffs.
John Brown's 50% available.
That's
John Brown's 50%
I'm
available.
not humble bragger, but I drafted him.
No
in one of
joke.
my- Hey, I drafted him in one of my leagues and kept him the whole
I
year.
drafted him.
No joke,
I know
though.
you're a big
love
John
him.
Brown guy. I know you're a big. I
That's
know,
to say,
and
like I kind of like Stefon Diggs. Like I like John Brown. There's certain guys I like, but
no, for sure. I remember telling her, I was like, dog, he's got John Brown. He's like, John Brown. I'm like, dog, he gets you like, for the first, 8 weeks, it was him and Michael Thomas that had either 4 catches or 60 receiving
we would
yards.
mention him every week. We'd be like, so
Every
John
week.
Brown's still there, 50% owned.
Were you saying,
Downtown
were you
Jimmy
gonna say,
Brown.
Mike?
I was gonna say that.
Oh,
Yeah,
Dude, sorry, dude. We took
okay.
your spotlight, dude.
it's all right, dude.
we literally would be like, so if we would tell you that the wide receiver 18 is on the waiver wire and 60% available, would you go get him?
No,
Okay,
it's
John Brown.
And coming down at this age, John Brown.
That's what I was
We
gonna
probably
say.
could jump out like the 14th because
every
people
week.
don't even give a fuck about him.
Yeah.
It is true. And even when you would tell him, like, I would try to trade him. I'm not gonna lie. So I had him, and I was like, they're like, who the fuck is John Brown? I'm like, what do you mean? You don't know who John Brown is? And it's like, can't even trade him. No one even knows who he is.
I should have actually played this trade more into my like
It's like
because I
that.
remember I had Sony Michel and he just had like a couple like decent games and I wanted John Brown. I was like, I'll trade you Sony for John
16
straight
for
up.
70 and a touchdown.
Yeah, it's probably what it, and they scored back-to-back games. And I was like, all right, he's hot.
Yeah, he's hot.
So I was like, I'll give you John Brown for Sony straight up. And the guy was like, you serious? And I was like, yeah. I was like, look at the numbers. Like Sony's actually doing better. He's, oh, yeah. I was like, I'm like looking back, I'm like, fuck, I should ask for more because
Yeah.
no one values John Brown. I'm like,
Yeah.
You
And
could
in
have
my
got
head,
John.
and I was like, dude, John Brown.
You could have got John Brown and
He actually-
and somebody else for that.
It just another like throwing player like I tried to package, even though
Yeah, dude,
I
you
barely
pulled a
traded.
Bill O'Brien right there.
He reminds me of Chris Godwin 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I had Godwin and nobody liked him, and he was like solid before he broke out.
Yeah.
He was like a 60 yards and a touchdown guy, and everyone's like, "Who's Chris Godwin? Like, he's not that good."
Yeah.
But I mean, his numbers weren't great, but you could tell he was all right. But now, I mean, I might take him over Mike Evans. Boom,
I mean, his name does start with God.
Dude, I didn't realize.
the Godwin.
I didn't realize how many.
What are we thinking of? What do we got here?
So yeah,
Oh,
we
God.
got Jimmy Graham. He's staying in the division, but he's going to the Bears here. I don't know. This one probably quick. I think
Yeah,
we all kind of just
I was just about to. Can we?
Just
Okay,
going.
who looked more stiff, him or David Johnson?
Vince Trubisky's
Him.
arm.
You know what's? It's funny, real quick for audio
you remember
listeners.
the-
We're playing the highlights on YouTube. So go check out our YouTube. Subscribe if you haven't already. But it's funny how I forget how many teams Jimmy Graham's been on.
Yeah.
He's been. I feel like he's been on so many.
I mean, the Saints highlights. If you want to see the glory days, go
Right.
look at the Saints games because that's when he was a
Try
boss.
and show a video of him getting a long run because we were talking last time. Remember Tyler was like, I think I could beat him in a race. I think you could beat him in a race, bro.
I for sure could beat
I
you.
got you,
now,
bro.
now, yeah.
Jimmy Graham, I challenge you to a foot race.
Down the field
And if
for
he
a
beats you, you gotta
huge
sponsor the
touchdown.
podcast.
This is
Yeah.
in
No,
Seattle.
if he beats you, you got to come
Dude,
on
I'm
the
for
podcast.
sure beating Jimmy Graham in a
All right,
race.
No, but what do you got to do if Jimmy Graham beats you? Because I'm gonna blow up his feed. What's up? If he beats you, what are you doing, T?
Yeah, we did.
No, you know what he should do? Hey, if he beats you, you gotta dye your hair fucking red like his hair.
Deal.
For 1 year.
Done.
Yeah, for a year.
Done.
If
And
what?
And your mustache.
Wait, what is it?
Freckles.
What
I don't
is
know,
it?
bro.
Done.
Hey, don't let it fool you. Jimmy Graham runs. He's a big motherfucker though.
don't let the camera fool you, bro.
Yeah, don't
Dude,
let-
Mike's big and he's slow as shit.
Bro, you don't even know
Mike
that.
weighs 175 pounds soaking wet.
I weigh at 180.
All right, so let's just
close.
see. All right, are you interested at all in this? Jimmy Graham to the Browns. You got
I'm
Mitchell
more interested in
Trubisky.
this race.
Bears. You mean Bears? No. How can you go this?
They're
my
talking
logic.
about getting. I've actually read something today. Or saw something too. It was saying the Bears are going to try to make a move for Andy Dalton or Nick Foles. So they're trying to transition away from Mitch Trubisky
Okay, well-
possibly. So even if there's a change in quarterback, you're just not interested in this at all.
This is
See
my
this?
thing. If you can't do good with Aaron Rodgers throwing you the ball,
Facts.
how can you do good with anybody else?
Facts.
Granted, unless every play is a tight end read
And,
post.
and Russell Wilson.
Exactly. Like, come on, bro. Like, I'm sorry. I've seen him drop balls right through his hands. It's been fucking awful.
I've seen him lose a foot race.
He's
Tyler.
old, man. It's
I like that. About you.
he needs to care more or needs to
He's
retire.
still younger than. No, you're same age, right?
As who?
Yeah, they're the same age.
I was like, is he older
I'm
than
for
us,
sure
or younger
beating
than
Jimmy
us?
Graham in a race.
Yeah.
You won't race me, Jimmy Graham. You won't.
Hey, tell
Hey,
him.
he beats you-
Give him his solo cam. Like,
Hey,
like Murray
yeah,
Jones
at
said,
Jimmy
"Give my
Graham,
solo,
you won't
give my
race
solo
me."
Right here. Hey, give my solo.
Hey, listen.
I don't see
Give
this.
my solo cam.
Jimmy Graham for sure is watching this right now.
Now, if you would have said Jason Witten, I would have been like, we're
should've
all
went
beating
live and
Jason
tagged
Witten
him.
in a race. Jason Witten's like 80. Jason Witten's like 80 years old, but
Actually,
yeah, so I
I
think
would kind
that
of like
just
see.
kinda
I would kind of like to see Tyler with red hair for a year.
But I think that just shows you how like uninterested we are in this. I don't think I'm gonna. Like I just said, do not draft list. I think Jimmy Graham will probably be in my do not draft list.
Bro, it's
Just
one of those
something
things. It's
that.
like you see year after year these organizations do these things where you're just like, what the fuck are you thinking? The Bears do stupid shit like
Every
draft
year.
it's 'cause these
Mitchell Trubisky.
GMs are like 80.
But I just don't understand. It's like it's like how you gotta do something different. You're every year you're doing dumbass shit that even us like fans we know that you're doing silly shit. I don't know.
I legit think it's because half these GMs are like 7 years old.
For sure.
Like what the like I don't know.
I will give this to Jimmy Graham. He can definitely jump higher than me. Do you remember that? Do you remember when he he broke the goalpost?
Yeah, he crooked it. He made it crooked, right?
Yeah,
yeah. And what team was he on?
the Saints
Exactly. When he was in his prime.
for sure.
Now,
Maybe a
Jimmy Graham will be that
6'7".
name again, where like you're in these drafts and people be like you'll be in these later rounds where like you can get
They're
a
looking at
sleeper
the
like
sleeper.
for instance like John Brown last year. There's so many sleeper picks. And it's like people will be like,
follow
oh, Jimmy
myself.
Graham is still there in the 12th round. Like, oh, Jimmy Graham, and it's like, okay, cool. Yeah,
Someone will
you
say it
take
in hella
Jimmy Graham.
confidence too, but no, he's the
no.
guy. He'll go one like 6th round because he'll be a Bears fan. Jimmy Graham, and everyone's be like,
Like, oh,
I was
shit.
gonna make fun of myself from last year in like the 11th round when it took me like 40 seconds, and then I was like,
The best
Jordan Reed, and it's like Jordan Reed. I was like, yeah. If he could just not get a concussion,
That was
and then he
not
got
bad.
what do you mean? And then he got a concussion in training camp, and he missed the whole year. And I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I can't believe I wasted 40
All right,
seconds.
we wasted way too much time on Jimmy
yeah,
Graham.
yeah, we
That's what
did.
Right here.
You're
All right,
right.
so we're just talking about a couple things real quick here, and then we'll wrap it up. But we got Marcus Mariota.
I don't
He
wrap it
signs with the Las Vegas Raiders, the newly Las Vegas Raiders here.
All right.
the coronavirus.
T.I.,
Raiders.
before you finish, I had to cut you off.
Cut me off.
Is Mariota gonna Tannehill, Derek Carr?
Yes, 100%.
Is he? He knows what it's like to get Mariota. Is he gonna Mariota Carr? Is he gonna Mariota Carr?
You just got to think of
That's
it
a
from
good-
this standpoint. If
I
they
mean-
were happy with Derek Carr, they wouldn't have went out and got Marcus Mariota. And who knows in the draft what they do? Like if they're going to go out and draft a quarterback. They also tendered Nathan Peterman, and I know that
Oh
name
my
sounds like a
God.
joke because he's been so terrible. But
'Cause he threw
they
five.
obviously
he's good
value
for
him.
fantasy defenses.
Yeah, but they also value him to a certain point to where they tendered him to, if someone tries to sign him, they can match it. So, yeah, I think Derek Carr's days in
Don't
Oakland, or not Oakland, Las Vegas, actually. Yeah.
Didn't Gruden
Actually, his
and-
days in Oakland are over
numbered.
because they are over.
Don't Gruden and Derek Carr live like right next to each
They're
other?
saying they're gonna get houses next door to each other.
I don't think they like each other.
Then they fucking.
But my
they-
thing is
imagine
if
they have
Mari-
those can phones with the string and they're just
Oh.
talking to each other.
Derek.
And he's like, hey. He's like, hey Gruden,
still
why
awake?
don't you ever answer your phone anymore?
Because I wanted Mariota.
It's like, sorry,
pussy.
we had to drop you.
Still awake.
let Mariota go in there and start and win 3 games. Gruden's like, I don't give a fuck about you, next door neighbor.
Yeah.
It's like
Mariota's in.
I just feel like they got Mark. It's like you get it's one poop
Mariota
for
better,
another
though?
poop.
Well, I mean,
I
look,
think he's better than Derek
we're
Carr.
watching. I mean, the athleticism is there. Maybe he was just one of those guys where he needs a new system.
No,
I mean, yeah.
I think
it's kind of Tannehill all over, like you
They're
said.
like
I mean,
this-
sometimes you just need a different scene,
Look at
change
Alex
of
Smith.
scenery, yeah, and just different coaching. Sometimes it's just what it is. I
Dude.
mean, he's obviously talented. The guy won the Heisman, and he doesn't turn the ball over, so I mean, you like that.
I feel like they're the same guy.
I mean, one thing this could actually help
They're
is
pretty close to me.
Dude, I think they're the same.
That's why I'm like,
You guys are tripping.
Bro, Marcus
He's
Mariota
way more
runs the ball.
athletic.
Derek
He's
Carr does
dummy
not
athletic.
run the
Derek
ball.
Carr will do that shit in Thursday
Not a
night.
shot,
Shut
not
up!
like
Shut up!
Mario.
Shut up!
Run,
In Thursday night games, I've seen him do it when it's prime time.
run the ball.
Dude,
No, I
fuck
know
him up,
because
Mike.
because I start talking and fucking 14 of you all of a sudden are in here.
No, keep going.
All right.
I'm quiet. and
I'm saying
I like
I'm
listening to you.
saying during primetime games, you see Derek Carr's come out of nowhere, be like spontaneous and fucking jumping over linemen and shit into the end zone.
Pull
And
up the highlights.
pull up the-
I need to see this.
And when you say
Pull up the
It
spontaneous,
was against the
one
Texans.
time.
It was against the Texans. I'm
Pull it up
specifically-
Thursday night. Derek Carr
No.
jumps over lineman highlight.
No, before you do that, type in the one time that Derek Carr jumped over the lineman.
No, but I'm saying is like they'll both do it, but then they'll also be foo-foo lame shit all the time too.
Well, they did break their leg the same. Remember, was it the same game or the same week? Remember?
Probably same week,
Derek
yeah.
Carr broke his fibia or whatever.
And
That shit was
then
fucked
yeah,
up. Or whatever.
I
that
like
bone has.
Mariota, whatever the fuck. His
I think
upside
Mariota's-
is athleticism. And Gruden is apparently this quarterback whisperer. If he can set him up for success and hook him up, Mariota's. I mean, he's not like a Lamar Jackson type, but bro, he could run the fucking ball though.
You can also.
He can also throw to
NFL
the other
week
team.
11.
He can also throw to the other team, but he's also thrown a touchdown to himself. So
That's true. Valid
be
point.
real.
The Raiders' offense doesn't really. It's also,
There's 3 touchdowns. Wait.
Yeah, Gruden's got to come.
Well, I mean, it didn't suit Lamar Jackson until they made it suit Lamar Jackson. You feel me though?
Gruden's.
No, the Ravens. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah,
If they
it
like him
wasn't
enough,
this
they'll look at his upside or his strong suits and make it go. But he's a backup though. They're taking him as a backup right now, right?
The backup that eventually will be the starter. I will.
Oh, it's against the Chiefs. I
He'll
think.
get some starts.
So you
I
think
agree with that.
You think they're doing it to light a fire under him? Like, listen, if you suck
No,
now,
I
now
think
we have
that-
someone who's
I
good.
think they'll eventually
he's
get
gonna make
rid
a
of Derek
toy
Carr
of-
and keep Mariota
I think
as the
what
quarterback.
I think what
Like
Derek
this
Carr's
year?
gonna do is make
I
a
think
toy.
this year possibly.
What
They
week,
could try to trade Derek Carr or something. I mean,
I like how you're holding the wood. No homo. What week?
I don't know.
Oh, well, what the fuck?
Because who knows? Maybe he just balls out in preseason or in training camp, and they make
Bro.
that switch then.
Maybe they both suck, and they start Nathan Peterman.
Okay.
Bro, if they start
Close.
anything Peterman, I'll still cold Steve Austin 2 beers.
I think one thing. I mean, we've already seen just kind of like sidetracked, but we've already seen Josh Jacobs as a rookie, do really good with Derek Carr, and like
sure.
kind of just backtracking to the whole RPO system here. So if Mariota's there, I think that just opens the door for even more potential for Josh Jacobs.
Yeah,
to have
it
a
doesn't.
big year,
Look at
so-
But
this.
yeah, I mean, and if
Look at this, bitch.
he fumbled
That's
and they
how-
lost the ball and they lost the game on that play.
Yeah,
Look, Derek Carr fumbles out of the end zone to end the game. Can't miss play.
Yeah, I pulled up the wrong one.
Look at this bitch. He's all confident.
Hey, you
I got
were
all
just as
cocky.
fucking managing your fucking. Hey, way to fumble that one. You're fine. Look, they lost the game.
yeah, dude, because he's got
trying
these.
to cover
But
it.
I've
He's
seen
got
him.
these tiny hands. He can
I've
hold on
seen
to the
him.
ball.
Hey, let's with a glove. Look at this. He goes, here you go.
I've seen him do shit like that though. Whatever, dude. Never mind.
I feel you. No, what do you mean? They were 2-4 until he broke his legs. He looks good.
Yeah,
it's
no.
just-
That was
I'm
the
just
same-
saying
was the
that
same
you're
year they were
acting
both
like
good.
Marcus Mariota is like this guy that's gonna. Oh yeah,
I'm
they
on-
need
I'm
to
on
change
your
the
side.
scenery.
I
It's
don't
the
think
same
it's-
fucking guy. It's
it's
like
like
I
the
mean,
same
that's
guy
what they
to
said
me.
about
Yeah,
Tannehill.
that's what
though.
they said about Tannehill.
No.
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 We all
You're right. No one
we
even said
all
that.
said we like Tannehill.
Yeah, we
but that's
all were
because
like,
you see this fucking logo. Yeah, because we watched him for 4 years, so we saw.
Well, also I have you guys in my ear, but I've also watched Derek Carr be foo-foo lame shit for a couple years now, and I've watched Marcus Mariota also do foo-foo lame shit. Neither one of them. Ryan Tannehill was just injured a bunch. Marcus Mariota wasn't just injured. He fucking not good.
valid points.
All right, well, so should we make a?
We shall
fucking-
see.
It's a
should we make
2-on-2.
bet? It's a 2-on-2. What do
right.
you- I
He
mean,
could be
well,
better, but I'm just saying it's
All
like
right.
it's almost like it just
Calls for a
seems
bet. I
such like
think
such a
we-
lateral
let's-
move.
let's-
All right, let me ask you this: if Derek Carr was the starting quarterback, would you draft Derek Carr for your fantasy team?
Huh?
I'm not saying he's better. I'm
No,
saying
I'm saying okay, but would you draft Derek Carr for your quarterback as a fantasy team?
no.
No.
Okay, now if Mariota was the quarterback, would you take a shot at Mariota or
No.
No.
Okay.
You wouldn't. You're lying.
No, I wouldn't.
No. I'd stream them both.
I think if
I
there was
wouldn't-
one guy I would take a chance on, it'd be Mariota just for the rushing upside. I'm never drafting Derek Carr. I just
I
don't
wouldn't
think
draft
I
a-
don't think Derek Carr is a good quarterback.
I'm just not going to draft a Raiders quarterback.
That's probably also a very good strategy.
I agree with that.
I feel like we're talking about Marcus Mariota. We were like, oh, this one's light.
We've gone on this for
Argue
way
about
too
it.
long.
All right, now, and this one should be a lot shorter too. What do you think? I mean,
I think
Cobb?
you're going to see the Jameis Winston Fitzpatrick, but not as good, where they just interception, switch him out, interception, switch him out.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
For sure. So this is kind of touching on the whole D-Hop trade. The Texans, they kind of wasted no time. They went out and got Randall Cobb from the Cowboys, former Green Bay Packer, Randall Cobb. So maybe this isn't so much about Randall Cobb, but I'm kind of just curious. We didn't really touch on it, when we talked about the whole D-Hop trade. I mean, if there's one receiver right now on that team that you would kind of feel comfortable about, I mean, who would it be? Obviously, they have Randall Cobb now. Will Fuller, we've seen the flashes. He just can't stay healthy.
I'm going
And then you
Dreads.
have Kenny Stills. So
You going who?
Going dreads.
I think that signing Randall Cobb to the Texans was dumb as hell.
And you also have Kiki QD, who's another
Exactly.
slot guy. So
So they have a bunch of the same players. So why spend 18 million or whatever you spend on him? Because you know damn well they're going to draft a wide receiver. They're going to draft one. So why in the hell are you going to now have a rookie? You have Kiki, you have Randall Cobb, and you have Will Fuller. I mean, it just
Maybe
doesn't
if
make-
you were to take one right now, who would you?
I would take Will Fuller. I would take Will Fuller in 10 games and the points he puts up over what Randall Cobb will put up in 14.
Will Fuller puts up.
Because you know what? Will Fuller will give me that one game where he gets me 8 catches for 190 and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I had to feel that.
That's crazy.
And Randall Cobb ain't doing that shit no more. So, yeah.
I
If Will
I
Fuller's
might,
healthy, his upside is through the roof. That's probably why they kept him. And they can get him at a cheap deal where it's like, hey, dude, you're hurt all the time.
yeah.
You know,
He kind of
show
has that
it.
giraffe thing going on too.
Yeah. Yeah. But he's a freak
I'm Mr.
athlete.
Animal Planet over here.
He runs like a gazelle too. So
I low key.
Randall Cobb got some green ass eyes.
Are we talking value or are we talking who you? Are you?
he said he got some green ass eye. Pause.
He does.
Pause.
He does have some green ass eyes.
Have you seen his eyes?
You seen his eyes? They're like
fuck is wrong
more
with
green
y'all?
than the Green Bay
I'm just
Packer.
saying, bro.
No, his eyes are hella green.
If you
Um,
want to see what Randall Cobb's eyes are, go to our YouTube
on.
page.
Oh, you guys are
Are you
tripping.
typing Randall Cobb eyes?
He is.
Let's do that in Google Images, huh? Okay, go.
WrestleMania
Continue.
came up.
Okay, well he's pulling it up.
Hey, he's looking up the.
Yeah,
hey,
look.
I want y'all to know, whoever's listening, he's googling
Bro.
Randall Cobb's
Bro, he's got
eyes,
some
and he's
good-
making us look at him on Google.
Well, I mean, come on, dog. That's crazy. Like, dude, I'm white as shit, and I don't have eyes like that.
What does your skin color have to do with the
Bro,
color?
I
you're
just
not-
feel like when
yeah.
you're-
So you're saying.
I'm
Bro, what are you saying? White people
are
have
you
better
saying that
eyes?
you're- Are you saying
We
you're
just
entitled?
lost like 3 followers.
Yeah,
because of
are
that.
you saying that white
Now
people
we're down to
are only
6'10"?
entitled to green eyes, bro?
No, I'm just saying it's like
That's like me saying I'm Mexican. I don't have eyes like that.
I know because Mexicans usually
We
have
have
brown
doo-doo
eyes.
We have
brown.
doo-doo browns. I
That's
get
it.
it though. We have doo-doo brown eyes.
Anyways,
Unless you got Spanish blood. No, sorry.
It is.
So back to Tyler's question. Are you talking value or just who am I taking first?
Yeah, who do you think would be kind of like the receiver to, I guess, put up the most fantasy points, you know?
If we're talking injuries, I'm gonna go Kenny Stills
Yeah.
because I think Will Fuller is gonna get hurt again.
This guy just can't seem to stay healthy.
I'm gonna bet on him. Will Fuller.
All right, you can.
I
bet
kind
on
of like
him.
Kenny Stills. I mean, we've seen, the potentials in
God.
Miami, the homer pick, and then, I mean, he had a couple good games as well with the Texans. So,
Mike's,
I mean,
Mike's raising his hand.
no, I totally forgot about Kenny Stills. Go ahead.
Oh,
the
sorry.
way he high points the ball, it's like Devonta Freeman.
he's pretty. No, he doesn't.
He doesn't. I don't think he can jump. I've never seen him jump. Sorry,
But I mean, you
Tyler.
got to think if
never jumped the
if
sheet of
there's no
paper.
D Hop and if Will Fuller was to go down like he has every single year, even if it's only a couple games, that kind of just leads Kenny Stills to kind of be the de facto number one. Minus if they draft a receiver in the second round, they
And
don't
he's a
have they don't
vet.
have a first round pick. So
There is a lot of targets to go around. A
Yeah.
lot. I mean, because
Yeah.
I pointed out D Hop was like a 32%, 30% target share. That's a lot of targets.
They did.
And you
resign
could even
Darren
have two
Fells.
value guys
yeah,
Yeah.
potentially there, where they're not D Hop, but you could have maybe 2 wide receiver 3-2 guys.
You know
where
what?
You can use.
This is making me feel like I don't want to fuck with any of these receivers in here.
It's like
just
the,
thinking
who
about
do we-
that.
It's like the Jaguars, where we said not last year,
Well, I
but
mean,
2
this
years
is
ago.
the thing. From fantasy, or I mean, even maybe like if you're like in a rookie keeper or dynasty. I mean, yeah, if the Texans take a wide receiver, you figure they're going to jump right into the mix and play. I mean,
For sure.
Especially if they take him in the first 2-3 rounds, you assume they're going to get a shot to play.
If they don't,
Especially
though,
in this class, excuse me, this class is loaded.
yeah. If they don't, though, I'll probably be targeting Stills because I think chance for 16 games is higher. I think Will Fuller probably has the better chance of having a higher upside, but it wouldn't surprise me if Kenny Stills had the better season.
Yeah.
And I'm probably getting him for half the price, if not a third of the price.
yeah.
Okay, now here's a question. So what if the Texans trade back up into like maybe the top 5 picks in the...
I'm saying not drafting receiver.
No, I'm just saying if you had to pick, if they trade into like the first 5 picks of the second, would you take like the rookie, like a Denzel Mims? Or would you take like a Kenny
right?
Stills?
No,
They do have 2 seconds, so they
I'm
could
saying if they don't draft a
potentially
receiver.
trade
No, I'm
back
just
into the
asking.
first
No, I'm just
round.
saying. I'm just saying in general from talent. Would you rather take your chances on like a rookie in the later rounds, like late, or maybe a Kenny Stills? Because I mean, it's almost like a fresh slate, right? With Deshaun Watson, except for Will Fuller. But Will Fuller, I mean, he likes them on the fly routes. Their chemistry is more on like deep balls. You know what I'm saying, right?
I don't know. It's too early to say on that one.
I think it's kind of like the whole 1A, 1B thing again. I think Fuller will probably go a couple rounds ahead of Stills. But then he carries that injury kind of risk. So I think I'll probably just, if I'm going to take a shot on one of them, I'll probably just wait for Stills in the later rounds. But if you're drafting one of these guys, they're probably your wide receiver 3, your wide receiver 4 flex guy anyway. So
yeah,
I was just kind of curious your
Unless you're
standpoint
huge.
on like what your thoughts are. Or it's early, like you said. They could go out and they could potentially sign a free agent. They could make a move in the draft and get one of these stud rookie wide receivers. So it's still kind of early to really determine.
They can use that second round pick they got.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm making fun of them getting a second round pick.
I know, no. Oh wait, I mean,
Man,
David,
if only they had a guy like DeAndre Hopkins before.
man, if David, I
They could
almost
fill that hole.
David Johnson just sucks.
Maybe they're gonna make David
they
Johnson a receiver.
I feel like if David Johnson sucks or just about Bill O'Brien, you're fired. Like David
He should
Johnson
get fired.
sucks. Yeah. And they were up 24, was it
If I was
24-0
Watson,
against
I'd
the
be
Chiefs?
pissed.
Yeah.
I'd be motherfucking the GM right now.
Oh yeah.
But bro, I'm trying to win a fucking Super Bowl and you trade fucking Hopkins. Like, I'm about to give you fucking Corona right now.
Damn, man, Mac, chill, man. Chill. All right, what do we got left, T? What do we got?
All right, so we
you
got this last one on the big board for us here. So we got Amari Cooper. He finally signs the big contract. Signs for a 5 years, $100 million to stay in Dallas with the Cowboys. What are your thoughts on Amari Cooper here? I mean, I feel like Cooper's, he's one of these receivers. He usually goes in like the second, third round every year, but he kind of does have those like road home splits in a sense. So
Yeah.
I'm just want to get your thoughts on Amari Cooper.
He does have those home road splits. It's tough on him though because last year was his first full season in Dallas, and I know that once he got hurt, things changed. I don't know if I'll be touching him at his price. Probably.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna probably go a little too high for what I want to pay. But it's hard to make a full assessment on him because I forget what happened. But once he had the injury, it wasn't the same.
Yeah,
but the first 7 weeks,
his
he was like a
ankle.
top 3 receiver.
Yeah.
So it's like, if we get a healthy 16 out of him, is he that top 5 guy, or is it just to your point, the home road splits? Because those have always been there. So was it a home road split thing and he just started off hot, or was it actually the injury that was the reason that he was kind of more inconsistent? So, that's something I'll have to weigh into the upside, downside. I always look at what's the upside, what's the downside, and I have to weigh that into my, my personal. That's how I usually do it's part of my rankings, like the way I do it. See where I see him, and then see if I'll touch him where he's going. But early on, I think he might go a little bit too high for what I like. But it's early for right now. We haven't draft and all this other stuff, and just there's a lot of factors with him still for me.
Yeah.
He'll still be in my top 15. He's probably going to be around that. Probably around the same way I had him last year, which was like 10, 11, 12, I think, somewhere in there. Maybe a little higher. I don't know.
I mean, I like him, but I mean, now that he's with the Cowboys, I like him more. I mean, they said I want to say he had like almost 2,000 yards since he's been with the Cowboys. He's been the wide receiver 5 overall in fantasy since he's been there. So that's including the half year and then this year. And I mean, I have him in one of my leagues, so his splits were bad, but both of the games that he missed were both on the road, so that's why his road splits were so bad. And I'm looking right now.
He disappeared in some road games.
The 2 games that he missed, he played 2 snaps and he got 0 points, and that was on the road. And then the very next game did the same thing and on the road again, and he gave you back-to-back doo-doos.
But full of his other road games, because I know he had some bad road games that he actually played. I'm not even talking.
He gave you
playing.
5 and 0, and then on the road at Chicago week 14 he gave you 18. At Washington he gave you 12. I mean, at the Giants 16. At the Jets he gave you 0.8. Then when they got absolutely destroyed, remember when what's his name came back? Yeah. At New Orleans 8. At Washington 13. So I mean,
PPR, right?
Yeah, this is half point. He did get hurt at the end, and it hurt you because he did fucking suck because he did do good at the end. 4, 2, 0, 0, 5. So, I like him because of Dak. If he went somewhere else, I wouldn't have liked him as much. But I think he's going to be. I have him at I want to say 10 or 11 overall.
That's kind of
for wide receivers. I mean, because he is still young and he knows the offense. I mean, and now. I don't even know who their tight end is. What is it, Blake Jarwin? Or is Jason Witten coming back? Not that I give a shit. But
Jason Witten, but
Jason
they
Witten.
did sign Blake Jarwin to a 3-year extension, so they're
So-
kind of looking for him in the future. Kind of.
Yeah,
I
rather
just
than
did
Jason
kind of
Witten.
see some games where it was like Michael Gallup was the one in some games.
For sure.
Where it was
Especially
like
against Green Bay.
it was like Coop. They were trying to take away Cooper, and it's almost like Dak was like,
Force
"All right,
it.
I'm not going to force feed Cooper. I'm just going to throw it to Gallup."
Yeah.
And so that is kind of like that's leads to something where I talk about maybe we do have that inconsistency with him where it's maybe it wasn't him being hurt, maybe it's just hey we're going to double team Cooper and take him away, and you saw some big games out of Gallup.
Yeah.
So that's something because I'm kind of right here with there. I have 10-11, but a lot to go through in the offseason, but yeah, it's just.
And I don't think he'll be 100. I don't think he's going to be like a 100 catch guy ever though with the Cowboys. He's going to get you like those like 80 to 90, right? For like 11 maybe.
Yeah,
Like 10, 11.
he will have those big games though. It's just how he
Yeah.
is, but he'll always have those duty games too.
Yeah, he's not going to be like a D-Hop, a second round draft pick guy who's going to get you 100. Yeah, I don't see Amari getting you 100
Would you
catches.
take Amari or D Hop?
Oh, I would take
I'm
D-Hop
taking D-Hop.
for sure.
Probably gonna do
Just
that.
for me, because like one thing
close,
here is
but-
I remember kind of just looking at some numbers last year between Cooper and Gallup, and I think it was like week 10 around there, give or take. Just looking at the target share actually, and it was like pretty even. I think at one point it was like Gallup had 108 targets and Amari Cooper had like 110 targets, so it was like pretty like neck and neck for the target share there, and we kind of saw the the rapport that Dak had with Michael Gallup. If he would go like 6 for 7, 7 for 7, 5 for 6. Where some of these games with Amari Cooper, he'd be like 2 for 10. Like it's almost like the
Missing.
chemistry wasn't as good compared to Michael Gallup. I'm not sure how many leagues I'll personally take Cooper in. It just depends on that draft spot and where he's fallen, the players in that range. But one thing I'll tell you is I think Gallup is going to be a player I target in these later rounds.
What do you think,
He's going
like,
to be in a
what
lot
round?
of my leagues.
He'll probably go. He's gonna
Seven?
go late. I don't think he'll go in 7.
8?
I would say 8th round or later probably. But
Yeah.
I mean, he was a guy where he had a couple 100-yard games and just kind of a he was one of our sleepers actually last year. So
Yeah.
it's nice to see him
I
just
like
kind of
Gallup,
come
too.
through.
He was solid last year.
I'll have to
He
know
was
that
solid.
he might be in Tyler's mind in some drafts. Like
He for sure
that's-
could have won you
that's the
some
one thing.
games. He had a few big games where he was
you just
balling.
like sometimes like if you're in a draft like with
I
your
know.
boys or like even like Andre too, so I'll be like I know he likes this guy or I know you like
That would have
this
been me
guy.
with
It's
like Josh
But
Dotson.
it's like
I
one of
love
those
Josh
things
Dotson.
where
Yeah.
it seems like every year too though we all like the same kind of guys,
Yeah.
but then it's like well I'm not gonna draft the guy I want because Tyler also wants this person.
And then someone texted me, was like, I was about to get him. Fuck. Like, we
What?
all liked Mark Andrews last year, I remember. I feel like we all
Right.
liked him, and then I forgot who took him, but I feel like we all were good on him.
Yeah.
Or Lamar. Everyone liked Lamar Jackson, right? But
I had him in a lot of leagues.
Michael Gallup, I think he's gonna make that next. he'll do better this year than last year. I mean, obviously.
He was solid last year.
Yeah, he was
Wide
good.
receiver 2.
Yeah, he was
Did he
good.
finished top 24.
He's on like
was
that
up- he
fringe.
was up there,
Yeah, I'm
fringe.
saying. He's a
27,
top 30
26.
wide receiver.
Yeah.
He's good.
So-
He can make that jump, especially now because I mean the same thing with the Cowboys. They don't have like another like go-to too. Like it's him and Amari. Like that's it.
And they're spending too much money. I don't think they're gonna unless
And
they
they-
draft someone.
They need to use Zeke more in the passing game, honestly. But that's for another day. I did want to bring something up that's not on the board. You did bring it up earlier. What do you think about the Browns putting a second-round tag on Kareem Hunt? So if you want to sign him, you got to give him a second-rounder.
I'm not sure if a team will take a chance on Kareem Hunt, just because the whole
like
kicking
PR?
thing, and it could be the PR. It could be like, okay, you don't know, like because I read something too that he got arrested the other day at like a bar or some shit. This is like in the
Yeah,
when
it's
the off
for-
season first started, and it's like he's still getting in trouble. It's like he's immature, like still kind of a kid. Sometimes you figure out these football players are 21, 22, 23 years
Kareem
old.
Punt.
They're still Kareem Punt.
Did it say that?
Asshole. No.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean,
What made
I
you-
think that was a good fit for him in
said Kareem
Cleveland.
Punt.
And we saw him get utilized in the passing game a ton, and even sometimes he'd come in and get a couple carries here and there. He's still a really talented running back.
Yeah, it's
just
a
depending
bummer.
on what team he goes to. I mean, just kind of top of my head. I don't know why it popped in my head, but I mean, if for some reason the Falcons are like, "Hey, we want Kareem Hunt," I would jump all in on Kareem
Bro.
Hunt. In
Yeah,
that type of system.
Falcons.
So
I will say the Chiefs, even though they won the Super Bowl this past year, I feel like they look so dope when they had Kareem Hunt and Tyreek Hill and all these guys. Like
outta
I miss that Chiefs team. That
Yeah.
team was fun to watch. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I mean, they were good though.
I got nostalgic.
Yeah, I mean, just depending on.
for 2 years ago.
I'm not sure if a team's willing to give up a second round draft pick for him. Just with the risks and being how we do have a lot of talented running backs in this draft class for the rookies.
Well, they got him for what? Nothing, right?
Yeah, so I think they keep him. And I mean, just speaking about him, I mean, even when he came onto the team, he was a valuable flex guy for you right there. He was actually a pretty good
Especially
RB2,
Especially after, he was solid.
when he came in. So he'll be a guy. I mean, if he stays on the Browns, I would love to have Kareem Hunt on my team next year.
Yeah. No, he's.
Well said.
I mean, I think
Well
it's. I mean, I think it's good. The Browns are reaping the benefits. I think if they sign him to like a 1-year deal, I think he'll get re-signed to another team. Like once that whole thing dies down to the whole kicking thing, someone's gonna pay his ass out because he's fucking like 24, 25, and the Browns can't afford to pay him and Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's about to get paid after this year.
For sure.
So
I
He's
think
gonna
it's
go
just
full Chubb.
Yeah, he's about to go hard. He's about to go hard on
Black Rhino
He's about to go
36.
Black Mamba on the boys.
Full Chubb.
Those gas
He's about to
station
go full
pills.
Chubb. No, I mean he's a stud, and it's good because he should be playing. I don't mean to get into all that, but
Yeah,
he is a boss though, and fantasy wise, I mean it shows you how much the Browns like him if they're willing to put that tag on him. And I'm sure they wouldn't mind getting a second round pick though. So if somebody did want to,
Yeah, I think it all depends on whether or not, like Tyler was saying, if
I'm trying to think if there's
Kareem
a
Hunt
team that's
stays
like a playoff
healthy.
team that could burn a second rounder on him.
man, the Texans. Just kidding.
He's
They already burned their
He's
second.
better
I
than
mean.
David Johnson.
Yeah, I don't. Oh man,
God, that trade.
that's the worst trade. I'm surprised no one's done that whole meme where you like put the picture of the trade on Madden and then it tells you like reject trade, like the video game won't even let you make the trade. I'm surprised no one's done that yet.
Dude, you should go make it.
I mean, I'm about to go hand out some Whoppers with cheese right now. So
Put it on the account.
For sure. All right, is there anything else you guys want to touch on?
Let's make sure there's no breaking news because I feel like every 20 minutes something happens.
Yeah, I know today has been pretty crazy with all that. It has been nuts.
I woke up, I was like, oh, free agency started. Sleeper bot. It was like,
Bro,
I'm like, oh, who
yeah.
died?
Bro, we woke up this morning like,
nope. I think we're good.
It's like that noise when you're like, that sleeper bot noise where it's like, like when you're in
Yeah.
season, like you're like, oh my God, please don't be my player.
I wish it would
No, I'm
change.
talking about look at the
I wish
sky,
it-
bro.
I wish it changed to this noise.
Yeah, give her some Whoppers with cheese. Wait, what?
Wait,
The
what?
noise is like, fuck you, Kyle.
No, it's that John Cena one.
No.
There's things that are fair and then there's things that aren't fair. That one.
Okay, what are we doing here?
I don't
We're,
know.
we're just looking at booty pics. What,
Nah,
what the fuck?
Damn. How did?
I'm just saying. What are we doing?
Oh, that's wild. Huh?
Dude, we're looking at Burger King.
Bro, are
Whoppers
you
with
kidding me?
cheese.
Burger
Whoppers,
King.
bro.
Yeah, the Impossible Burger.
Yeah, it's impossible.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
impossible to eat.
Anyways, come check us out. Tweets by Dre on the Twitter.
Peep it in the description down below.
You already know.
Follow us on. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. I've been really trying to update this so that it's more of like a show. There's like videos involved, and you can kind of, even though you're listening to audio and you still hear what we're saying, it is a lot more inclusive. If you go check out the YouTube, it's kind of a little bit better. You know,
You get to see our faces.
We
You
got
Get
some
our
shit
CR
coming. Don't worry
faces.
about it.
See these highlights as we're
coming up.
talking about the
get to see
players.
Yeah.
Tyler's mustache.
See how good Kareem Hunt is. That guy good.
yeah.
We might have a mustache episode.
Hey, Miami could trade a second round draft pick for him. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I'll
Kareem
take
Hunt?
him all day. Yeah.
Cream Hunt? Yeah, I'll take Cream Hunt.
But yeah, go ahead and follow us on everything down below. Thanks for listening. This is the end of the podcast, and we are out.
How long was that?
Deuces.
Hour 10?
Hour 6.
Yeah.
Hour 10?